Hi, dear students. Today we have decided to take a new poem, namely To a Skylark, written by P.B. Shelley. I think that this is a very revolutionary poem from the pen of P.B. Shelley, and it is famous for many reasons. Now we know that human being is suffering a lot from pain and disaster. And despite the fact that we try to live very happily, we are not able to live happily. And here is a skylark, an idealized bird of the poet, who is singing very happily. And there is no comparison of the melody of the song that the poet finds in Skylark's song. There is unmatchable melody that the bird pours on human being. We also want to have same kind of mirth in our music, in our song. But we find that no, we are not able to come near to the rapture of the song that a skylark is singing. I am Dr. Naveen Kumar Jha, Associate Professor in English, talking about the summary part of this poem today. We know that this poem was composed in late June 1820. And we also know that there are some songbirds which are very famous for their songs. And the poets have been composing poems considering the sweetness of song of these birds. We have nightingale, we have skylark, we have cuckoo in India, which are just poetic idolatry. And the songs of these birds have been preeminent to compose so many poems, good poems, lessonful poems. Here we are just going through the song of the songbirds, skylark, that the poet is imagining. And at the same time, you find that there is no match of this song. So we have also Keats' Ode to Nightingale, and here we have Shelley's Ode to Ode to Skylark. They are two glories of English literature, and they are giving several packets of lessons to suffering human civilization. Actually, they are romantic poets, and so they try to find out the remedy of human suffering. Actually, they try to make human being out of the clutch of suffering and pain for which he has not been enjoying life fully. So we should notice that the poem begins with a description of a skylark high above in the sky. The poet describes the skylarks under consideration in many ways. And finally, when you go through the description of the skylark that the poet describes here, you find that no, it is not the actual skylark that we see. This bird is characterized as a spirit which is pouring sweet songs for human beings to get pleased, to be happy, to enjoy the life. And this kind of idealization has been just instrumental for the poet to give a big lesson to human being. So the poet says that the song of a skylark is unpremeditated art. It has been described as unpremeditated art, that we have never thought of this kind of art of singing. No doubt, we have so many classical singers, but being compared, we find that the songs of skylarks are far better than the songs of these classical artists. We find that the skylark is able to sing while it ascends overhead. And the poet is going to compare the flight of the skylark to a cloud of fire. Now, it is from here that the skylark finds power and strength to sing beautifully. Otherwise, it is not the common bird which can sing so beautifully as the poet is describing here in this particular poem. No doubt, these singing birds are also singing very well. Especially, we can just listen to the songs of cuckoo in the mango orchard in spring in India, and we get delighted. Rather, there are some boys, and we too, young people, are imitating the sounds of cuckoo. It is full with pleasure, enjoyment. It is extreme happiness that has given birth to this kind of songs. So it is also very, very melodious. But when we go through the skylark that the poet has mediated, is not to be found anywhere, because it is just a super bird. It soars across the descending sun like an unbodied joy. So there is no touch of pain when that skylark soars across the descending sun. We find that it is just an epitome of joy which is soaring and soaring and soaring. There is no way to express any kind of sorrow, pain, and suffering, because the bird has never realized that kind of feeling. So it also flies in the purple evening like a star of heaven. So this kind of comparison simply makes us know that we cannot actually talk of the general skylark which we are seeing. It is a singing bird, but this quality is not found into the common skylark. So it is just an idealized version of skylark, or his spirit rather. It is the spirit which is just super, earthly. This earth cannot produce this kind of bird as the poet is describing here. So it is super in many ways, and it cannot be seen, but the songs can be distinctly heard. Can you imagine that there is a song without the singer? We have never seen this bird anywhere. It is all the flight of imagination that P.B. Shelley is going to create here, an idealized bird, and he has named it Skylark, and the poet is hearing the song. We too may hear the song if we have that kind of sensibility. But actually the point is that here the poet is in the height of imagination, where he wants to make the world for the people which is free from all sorrow and sufferings. Let our spirit sing as beautifully as this skylark is singing here. Let us soar across the just ascending sun and sing. This is our imaginative faculty that can make us prepare for this kind of imaginative happiness. We can actually realize the happiness that we have imagined if we are free from all these earthly sufferings and sorrow. So here we find that there are so many pieces and examples of similes that the poet has kept here in this poem to compare the skylark songs to the natural phenomena. And we can say that the song has been compared with moonbeams, which is spread out from behind a cloud during the silence of night. How beautiful imagination it is, that it is all silence and silence at night, and moonbeams are spreading behind the clouds. And the beauty that we see here and observe here is equal to the beauty of the song that nightingale is singing. Further, the song of nightingale is compared to raindrops from rainbow clouds. We can imagine that it is rainbow in the sky, and therefrom it is raining, drops are falling. And it is once again another piece of imaginative world that P.B. Shelley has made for us. And to actualize, to feel the beauty of the scene that has been described on the one hand, and the beauty of the song that nightingale is singing. And he is the greatest poet for his imaginative faculty, but he thinks that skylark is a poet who is the singing of song, as he has been singing the song of pleasure and enjoyment for the common suffering human being, human civilization. Likewise, we can say that a skylark is also trying to make us free from the botheration of this world. This life is a rare phenomenon. We can say that it is to enjoy. And if we are trying to find the occasion where there will be no suffering, then we'll decide to enjoy. We simply cannot find that moment in our life. Life has its own rhythm, and that passes through suffering and pains. We simply cannot just delete suffering and pains from human lives. Now, it is up to us to decide the extent by which we are very much engaged into that suffering and sorrow, or we want to make ourselves free and enjoy the pleasure of the life, the pleasure of natural beauty that is available here. We too are, our spirit too is singing, just like here a skylark is singing. Let our spirit soar high, as a skylark is just soaring high and singing. Now, when is it possible? It is possible when we are just giving just our spirit free from the botheration of this world. So we can say that the poet has further compared the song of the bird to hymns sung by poets. Poets are also singing, especially Shelley is singing, for making us happy, for relieving us from lots of pressure of life. The song of the bird and the hymn of the poet are unbeaten. So they rouse sympathy. Yes, the poet is a romantic poet, and so he has sympathy for the sufferer of this world. He sees this world a place of suffering. Naturally, he has sympathy for the people living here because they are suffering and suffering and suffering. There is nothing good to enjoy in this life. So the romantic poet like P.B. Shelley tries to make the world where there is no suffering, we try to make the world where our spirit becomes a skylark to sing a song of happiness. And so he has sympathy, seeing, watching the actual human condition and the world in which human being is living. So they strike a chord that evolves the fears and hopes of mankind. The poet is just revealing fears and hopes. We find that we should be hopeful. We should just very much what we can call brush off every fears which are in our brain, fears of loss, fears of suffering, fears of pains. These things, these are more just what we can call hurting us than actually we are in this situation. If you imagine just what we can call suffering, that we naturally imagine because we think that life creates sufferings. We are in a very troublesome situation. We are just a hapless, and hopeless bird that cannot be tuned to the song, which is musical. So we can say that we should strike a chord of what? Hopes, where there is no scope for fears. Or let those fears of suffering be translated into the hopes, wherefrom we can get pleasure of life. So the bird songs, song is a high-born maiden in a tower of palace who uses music to experience and execute love. It is just in the realm of love that we can enjoy the very much beauty of life. We have everything sans love. We have lost love, for we are running after material prosperity. And suffering is all due to our running after material prosperity. We want perhaps all the material items which can please us, which can make us happy. We are actually trying to find rapture of life, music of life, happiness of life in material prosperity. And here from our suffering start. And here from the songs of the spirit are also lost. So the poet has different examples of natural phenomena. They are all natural. They are all naturally coming. As the sun is naturally moving, or as we see, not scientifically, as the earth is naturally moving. So we should try to follow nature. That can be the best example to make our life as much natural as we can. Naturally, we are a happy being. Our nature is to be happy, but our habit of the past and of the future has made us feel sorry. So it has been compared to golden glow orb which moves unbeholden through the flowers and grass. Here also finds that these are golden glow orb which are living into flowers and grass, but they are not observed. But therefrom also we find that a kind of song and musical note is coming, and we become glad to listen to all these things. We also find that it has been compared to a rose whose petals are blown away by the wind's gusts, but it releases its unmistakable scent. So rose is just known for its scents, whether we find petals there or not, but its scent is making its presence felt by us. So let our spirit be just spreading its scent of love, of beauty, and here from the best music is arising. We once again find that the song has been compared to a rain showers, which revive the grass and the flowers. It is joyous, clear, fresh. You see, after summer, that everything is gone. And we find that, yes, nothing remains there to observe. And we find that whatever is just to be observed is just the thing that is unpredictable. So point is that we should just try to make our life just like the thing which is full with music and it is all possible by love and so on. So a skylark has also been surpassing love and wine. Its rapture is divine. So we too are divine being. Our spirit is divine. Our soul is divine. Let these souls just sing a song of love and beauty. So even a hymn to marriage or victory pales or flawed. They are just not perfect in composition. Maybe we are singing the hymn to marriage or we are singing just the song on victory pales and so on, but you find that they are not perfect in their composition against the song of the skylark, which is flawless, perfect. So it is the keen joyance of the skylark which is unburdened annoyance. There is no annoyance as such which can burden our spirit, which can make our spirit shun, and we are not finding the song that we are expecting. So this is what we are trying to say, and we are trying to find here. Let us be a skylark where our spirit is singing as beautifully as the skylark of B.B. Shelley is singing. So we can just say that the skylark sings of love that does not show love's sad state. It is an unquenchable love that we can be in love. We should totally be in love. The amount of love should be just without an extent. We can find that it is unbounded. From that and here we find that we too have lots of myths of Lord Krishna, and around him, we find that there are lots of songs of love, and here too we find that he is singing to make the world happy, make the world please. And in our Hindu mythology, you find that music has come from divine spirit. And we have imagined the just idea of Lord Krishna and the Mahadeva Rudra also, because it has very much been originated from the divine existence of something. Unless our soul sings, the song cannot be perfect. If only we are singing for singing, we cannot say that we are able to create that much music, that much attraction as a skylark is creating here. So we can say that a person in love, in music, is not troubled with any pain. So the skylark is also not troubled by death. And we people have been troubled by death. There are so many reasons which make us trouble, and we remain under the pressure of death. So just its understanding of death is clear and deep. We too have to come to the understanding of life, come to the understanding of death, love, and sympathy for others. If we are just feeling love, we find that our soul starts singing the song. So here we find that we have numerous songs of love to the light of what you can call Lord Krishna, which may be an idealized person who is singing for the whole world as a skylark is here doing. So its song flows in a crystal stream. To Shelley, mankind cannot achieve perfect happiness or bliss, as human emotions and thoughts are never unalloyed with pain, sorrow, and loss. We are actually living in anxiety of losing so many things. And it is from here, that we find that we are not free from just our burden of pain and just sorrow. So once we are making our life free from all these kind of things, we find that we will be enjoying a very good life and prosperous life. So a man cannot achieve the perfect equanimity, serenity, or solace because of our thought that we are in. Mankind is troubled by thought of the past and future. and we are just troubled by fears of death, and we pine for what is not possible to realize. For phantoms and illusions, we are living in the illusionary world where we find lots of expectation to realize. We do not know that it is perhaps not possible to realize the illusionary desires that we have just saved in our lives. So human songs are mixed with sadness. It is the tale of saddest thought. So man's songs are full with hate, pride, fear. So the skill of the bird songs exceeds all the sounds and sounds that we have seen and we have created. So actually we find that even half of the secret of gladness, of happiness is learned by the poet. The mankind would listen to the author's poem as he does to the skylark song. He too wants to attain this kind of thing. He too tries to make his spirit just like a skylark to sing the song of love, beauty, and joy for the people. So for Shelley, the skylark is a divine entity, something more than flesh, blood, and feather. It is a symbol of a spiritual upliftment and represents all that humans strive for but can never attain. Freedom from the stress and pain of mortal life. And we find that, yes, we are always trying to find freedom. We try to actualize everything, but we do not. Thank you very much that we have gone through.